हम भारत के लोग
আমি ভাৰতৰ লোকসমূহে
আমরা ভারতের জনগণ
અમે ભારતના લોકો
നമ്മൾ ഇന്ത്യയിലെ ജനങ്ങൾ
आम्ही भारताचे लोक
हामी भारतका नागरिकहरू
आम्ही भारतर लोक
असि भारत दे लोक
नांगल इंडिया मक्कल
वयम भारतस्य जनः
चिंगदे भारत निष्पो
हम भारत की अवाम
We, the people of India, solemnly resolve to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. In the aftermath of India's independence from British colonial rule, a document was created that encapsulated the future hopes of a free and sovereign Indian republic. This document, the Constitution of India, was adopted by the Constituent Assembly on 26 November 1949, but came into effect for the whole country on January 26, 1950, the day we celebrate as Republic Day. This is the longest written national constitution in the world. It has 470 articles, 25 parts, and 12 schedules. The Constituent Assembly, which drafted the Constitution of India from 1946 to 1949, consisted of people from different backgrounds, political parties, and ideologies. Some of the members of the Assembly were B. N. Rao, Durgabai Deshmukh, Jayapal Munda, K. M. Munshi, Maulana Azad, Jawaharlal Nehru, and of course, B. Rao Ambedkar, who chaired the drafting committee.
So what really is the Constitution? The Constitution of India defines the structures, powers, and responsibilities of the government and guarantees us all fundamental rights. As such, it serves as the bedrock of our democracy and is the supreme law that governs our country, ensuring equality, justice, dignity, and liberty for all citizens of India. If you're wondering why we should care about the Constitution, think about a country where there was nothing to safeguard you against inequality or discrimination. As a woman, Dalit, Adivasi, religious minority, sexual minority, ethnic minority, or any other kind of minority, you could be paid less than a Hindu upper caste man and have no legal recourse for it. The Constitution, by guaranteeing us all rights, ensures that this cannot happen. The Constitution is also critical for anyone who works in the social sector as they work on issues of discrimination, violations, and non-implementation of rights.
So what do we need to know about the Constitution? Well, the Constitution has many parts. Perhaps the most important for everyone to know are the Preamble, fundamental rights, the Directive principles of state policy, and fundamental duties. In this video, we'll take you through each of them.
The Constitution begins with the Preamble, which is embedded in the aspirations of we, the people of India. It emphasizes justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity as the foundation of India's democracy. It resolves to secure social, economic, and political justice of every citizen, ensuring the dignity of every individual. It embodies the collective will of people to build a sovereign, socialist, secular, and democratic republic. Sometimes known as the soul of the Constitution, the Preamble is a one-page testament to India's commitment to creating a just and inclusive society.
The fundamental rights are enshrined in Part 3 of the Indian Constitution. These rights are fundamental because they guarantee all people civil liberties and dignity. The Constitution originally provided for 7 fundamental rights, but the 44th Amendment Act of 1978 modified Article 19. The right to private property was removed, resulting in 6 distinctive fundamental rights. The first, right to equality, which ensures equality before the law. Discrimination on the grounds of race, religion, sex, caste, and place of birth. Guarantees equality of opportunity. Second, the right to freedom, which guarantees the right to freedom of speech and expression. Third, the right to life and personal liberty. Individuals from arbitrary arrests and detention. The third is the right against exploitation, which prohibits human trafficking and forced labor. The employment of children below the age of 14. Is the right to freedom of religion, which guarantees you the right to practice any religion of your choice. It also prohibits any religious education in any state-funded educational institution. Fifth, cultural and educational rights, which protects the rights of minorities to preserve their language, culture, and script. Allows minorities to run their educational institutions. The last one is the right to constitutional remedies, which empowers any citizen to go straight to the Supreme Court in case of a violation of their fundamental rights.
The Directive Principles of State Policy, or DPSP, are in Part 4 of the Indian Constitution. Though not enforceable by law, these principles lay the foundation of an Indian welfare state. In other words, a country that works towards the welfare of its people when enacting laws and making policies. The Directive Principles are classified under these categories: economic and socialistic, political and administrative, justice and legal, protection of monuments, and peace and security. To understand what this looks like in practice, think of the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, a law that guarantees at least 100 days of work per year to anyone who applies from rural India. Did you know the demand for Manrega was based on the DPSP? The National People's Movement in the 1990s and early 2000s demanded that the government guarantees work to its citizens. They quoted Article 41, which directs the state to secure the right to work. Manrega enhanced livelihood security for many marginalized communities living in rural India.
Aside from fundamental rights that the Indian state must ensure for all citizens, every Indian citizen is obligated to follow fundamental duties. These include promoting fraternity, protecting the environment and public property, developing a scientific temper, and preserving India's composite culture. These duties were added to the Indian Constitution by the 42nd Amendment in 1976.
As we celebrate the 26th of January, the day the Constitution of India was implemented, we must ensure that it is being followed and respected in its truest sense. That the words socialist, secular, democratic, republic do not just echo as words on paper. We must find a way to include these rights, principles, and values into our daily life and work.